Hello, Dr. Fixmaster here. We're back to work on my 2008 Honda Civic EX. This time there is a leak in the power steering pump. So, you know, this thing has 100 and something thousand miles on it, but everything sounds okay with the pump itself. It's just leaking. And everything I researched says that you can correct that with just a couple of gaskets. So I bought a couple of gaskets, and I'm going to show you how to replace those without taking the pump off the vehicle as easily and as quickly as possible. Now hopefully our job today will help me clean up this mess, which I originally thought was oil, the floor of my garage, but it turned out that it was power steering fluid. With the eighth generation Civic, I usually like to use my floor jack right here in the middle and just get it up off the ground, and then I put jack stands underneath the tow hooks on the frame where it's nice and sturdy. Coming over here, you cannot easily get in there and do the work that you need to do. So there's a clip here, a clip here. Once that comes out, this plastic piece will fold out of the way. Let me just fold it back up in there just so you can see what it looks like. It looks like that. But you really need that space. So clip, just pull it out, move it down and out of the way, and then you can get done what you need to. As you move down in here, I'm going to show you, you're gonna spill things. The fluid is going to come out of the reservoir. So be ready for that. You can catch it with a paper towel or a lot of paper towels, or just some kind of a catch basin. As I maneuver the camera into position, you can see the power steering pump right here with the wheel on it. I've got the hoses disconnected. It's not too hard to do with a 10mm socket and a U-joint, not an extension, but just a universal joint. I'll show you in a while. But there's 3 bolts that you need to take care of. The lower one is the one that I did first. That bolt is right up here, and right there. And you take that one out, and then this piece comes off. You can replace the O-ring on that one, and then the one over here that you see flopping around, I still have to remove the O-ring from that. You have to do it very carefully without damaging the metal, so that when you put the replacement on, it makes a good seal. But there are 2 bolts on that one, so the one on the bottom is pretty easy to get to. The one on the top, you need, well actually, the one on the top is the only one that you need to use the universal joint on, and I've got it right here, so I'll show it to you. It's that kind of thing. So you want to be able to get it at any angle, and it's a little bit difficult to maneuver, but you can get it up in there and break it loose. And once you get those gaskets on there, you really don't have to remove the pump from the vehicle unless you hear sounds coming from the pump that are, you know, indicative that the mechanism inside is about ready to go. Sometimes when you're doing cold starts, the way I found it with mine was that because of the leaky gaskets, the reservoir got low on fluid, and so it was at cold temperature, first starting it up in the morning, it was kind of making a whining, buzzing kind of a sound, especially when you turn the wheel. Topping off the reservoir corrected that, so that tells me my pump is okay, but I just had to correct these O-ring seals. So there's no point in going out and spending a bunch of money on a new part when all you need is a couple of O-rings. And I'm just going to put those O-rings back on. You just slip them back onto the hoses there, and it was pretty easy to see. I don't know if you can see it very good here, but there's a black O-ring around that one, and I just got an awl or something to just gently grab onto it and flick it off of there, and just push the other one on with your hands and with some little bit of a power steering fluid on it to lubricate it up, and then just put it back together and you're done. Okay, I got both O-rings off. This one was really easy, it just slid right off. This one was a bitch to get off. You can see I broke it. I fought with it for quite a while. What I found that worked was I just got a safety pin and used that to poke the rubber and pry around the channel where it was located and pull it up and get just enough of a gap underneath it that I could get this in it. Once I got that under it, and I just ripped it off. So that was fairly frustrating. But I got it off. You can see here that I've got the O-ring back on. I got the replacement O-ring back in there. So I'm just gonna move this up here, pop this back in, and put the bolts back in the reverse order of where I got them off. So the first one you want to put back is the one back behind here, and you'll access that right through the hole where I'm pointing. After reseating the fixture here with the hose going into it, I'm now finger tightening the bolt that was the hardest to get to and the most troublesome. Okay, that's finger tight. Now I'll get the other one is much easier to locate. It's just right in there. So I just go zip it in there, thread it down. Okay, that one's finger tight. You can see it right there. And the third bolt I'm going to put back in that hole. First I have to go retrieve the hose because I moved it to get it out of the way so that I could get at that bolt that's hidden back there. I'm going to tighten this one down first. Then I'm going to go retrieve the hose and bring it back down here and seat it in there. So getting access to those nuts or those bolts to tighten them down is not an easy thing. It's a little bit tricky. So I'm just going to show you what I did. You can see I've got one hand poking up, basically giving a hub. I'm giving a hug to this hub assembly with where you can see where the drive shaft comes into the hub. So I'm basically giving that a hug, and I'm putting one hand up in this hole, and then there's an engine mount right there. And then to get this 10mm socket on the bolt, I'm going to stick my other hand up on that side and get them both up in there. And if you do that, then you can get an angle on that bolt and tighten it down. Okay, those two on the big hose are tightened down. Now you can see I've swung that smaller hose into place. You can see the new orange O-ring there in position. That's exactly where the other O-ring was when I pulled it out. So there's only one bolt on that one, so I'm going to tighten that one now, tighten it down now, and that will do it. So I put those clips back in place. You pull the centers out, and then you'll find that they slide in those holes, and then you push the centers back in to lock them in place. Make sure that when you're finishing up here that you do a good job of cleaning everything up. Take a paper towel and just kind of wipe down everything where it's been leaking and clean up all the shiny, drippy fluid, and that way you'll be able to check it for leaks later. Don't forget to top off your power steering fluid reservoir. I tend to not trust just random kinds, so I'm just going to go with the genuine Honda stuff for the 8th Gen Civic. Here's the tool set that you need to do this job. 10mm socket. This is a small one with a 1/8 attachment here. And I never was able to use this end, but on the small hose, I had to break it loose just with a regular 10mm wrench. It was small, just a little one. And the bolt on the big hose that's closest to you that you can see easily, you can easily take out just with the socket. The one that's on top needs to be taken out with the socket with this little U-joint extension on it that allows you to get a certain angle on it. And it's a little tricky to bust loose, but it's definitely much easier than having to remove the whole power steering pump. Here's a quick shot of the part numbers for the O-rings. There's two of them.